Mario's had a lot of weird and poorly made games in the past. We all know about the obvious ones like the Lost Levels or Super Mario Land, but doing a bit of research made me realize that there are actually a lot of bizarre Mario games that I'd never heard of before.
It's pretty common knowledge that Nintendo is very protective of their intellectual property, especially Mario. But there was a time long ago called the 90s where Nintendo allowed the creation of many more third-party Mario games than now. And seeing these games makes me understand why Nintendo got pickier over time. Let's start with Mario's Time Machine. Released in 1993, Mario's Time Machine revolves around Mario going back in time to a bunch of historical locations and performing tasks. On the SNES version of the game, you must tediously enter a year and location and go surfing for some reason, and then hope that it's a year and location combination that they put into the game. Like for example, Mario going to Philadelphia in 1776 to deliver the Declaration of Independence to the framers of the Constitution so it can be signed. You can even talk to Ben Franklin, who spends more time telling you he invented multiple lens glasses than telling Mario he's holding the most important document in American history. Not to brag or anything, but I invented bifocal glasses, the most important invention to ever grace the human race. I have the Declaration of Independence. Oh yeah, I guess you should probably go return that. After seeing this game, I'm just confused about where Mario's signature is on the Declaration of Independence.
Also, doesn't Mario going back to 1700s America imply that there's slavery in the Mario universe? I mean, I get Bowser does some dark stuff, but this is a little real for a Mario game.
Some other notable people in the game include Isaac Newton, Beethoven, Gandhi, and Julius Caesar, who for some reason knows what a plumber is in 47 AD. Mario's Time Machine was very poorly received, probably because it's just walking around and reading text. And let me tell you, no child wants to read for 2 to 3 hours when Super Mario World is an option. But if there's one game that no kid can refuse to play, it's Mario's Early Years Fun with Letters. This game has many riveting mini-games like Fill in the Blank, A-E-I-O-U, and the worst baseball game you'll ever play. This game was actually part of an educational trilogy, along with Mario's Early Years Preschool Fun and Mario's Early Years Fun with Numbers. Wow, they got really creative with the names. The two other games in the trilogy are pretty similar to Fun with Letters, with simple games made for children. The minigames are all sorta odd. There's this one minigame in Fun with Numbers where you're supposed to take these dolls out of a tree, but they don't really look like dolls, so it looks like they're children hanging from the tree. The games don't really feel interesting enough for a kid to want to come back. It's just like clicking things it tells you to. It also just slightly incorporates Mario into it. You could replace the Mario characters with some random characters and nobody would be confused because the games have almost nothing to do with Mario besides having Mario in them. One educational Mario game that actually does it well is Mario Teaches Typing. You may have heard of this one before, it's sort of a meme in the Nintendo community. Mario Teaches Typing was made for Microsoft DOS, like the previous games on the list, and was released in 1991. The reason I say this one actually does it well is because it actually relates to Mario. The first game has 5 stages or lessons revolving around teaching the user how to type. The first stage is Mario running through a level and the user has to click the prompted keys to jump or kill the enemies. The game progresses from just typing specific keys to typing out entire sentences. There was also a sequel to Mario Teaches Typing which was released in 1996. It was sort of an updated version of the first one, now with the legendary 3D Mario head talking to you, updated graphics, and cutscenes. I know the game is kinda weird and uncanny feeling with the floating head, but I think Mario Teaches Typing is genuinely a pretty well executed game. It's no masterpiece, but it's not bad either. Maybe I should play it myself because my typing needs some work. It seems like the reason Nintendo allowed so many of these third-party games to be released was because a large portion of them were educational. They might have been mostly trash, but at least Nintendo had the fallback of "it's for kids" to justify their decision a little bit. A prime example of this is Mario is Missing. Mario is Missing is one of those games that's famous for how bad it is. In this game, Mario is taken by Bowser because Mario was trying to stop Bowser from selling the Earth's historical items to buy hair dryers to melt the Antarctic ice.
I don't know, why are you looking at me?
Basically, all you do in the game is play as Luigi to kill Koopas who drop bags with historical items and you have to return them to their original location. Yep, it's as bad as it sounds. The game is similar to and was made by the same people who made Mario's Time Machine. So making games isn't your strong suit, huh? Okay. We've seen all these trash educational games, but what happens when they try for something different? What happens if they allow someone to make something with a little more personality and story? You get Hotel Mario. This game is actually way more important to gaming history than you may expect, and Nintendo undoubtedly looks back at it with a world of regret. So in 1989, before the PlayStation existed, Nintendo and Sony were in talks for making an add-on to the SNES to allow for bigger games to be played and the use of full motion video, which could use pre-made videos instead of 3D models for cutscenes and more. Well, Nintendo turned its back on Sony and instead decided to do it with a company called Philips. What did Sony do? They only turned theirs into the best-selling home console of all time at that point. Nintendo paid for what they did and accidentally made their biggest competitor ever.
Well, at least the Philips Nintendo thing went well, right?
Well, the deal actually fell apart in 1993, giving Philips the rights to use Nintendo characters in some games on their own CDI console. This is what caused Hotel Mario. If you were born around 2006 or sooner, you've probably heard of Hotel Mario just because of how big the cutscene clips became in meme culture.
I hope she made lots of spaghetti.
No. Haha, here's the problem. Too many toasters.
There were also 3 Zelda CDI games that were released which were also really popular in internet meme culture. There was sadly only one Mario one though. Hotel Mario is pretty much hours of the worst puzzle game ever with 5 minutes of funny cutscenes. If you ask me if Hotel Mario is worth it, I would say absolutely. These clips were part of my childhood. If you ask Nintendo, they'd probably ask for a rope. There were 2 other Mario CDI games which were cancelled, in one of which Mario travels America in an interactive adventure. This one sounds very interesting and ambitious, and apparently some of the shots they recorded used a helicopter. I'm kinda sad we never got to see this one. It probably would have been hilarious. All of these games I've mentioned so far have the fact that they're on computer or consoles in common, but some of the weirdest Mario games have been arcade games, like this weird machine called Mario Undukai that you used to play little mini games. There was also this Japanese arcade car thingy called Boo Boo Mario that was a little kiddie car which you could use to play a top-down racing game and a Bowser fight. The gameplay looks really simple and pretty boring, but it's for kids so I can't really say much. I also find it odd how short it is. I don't know if it's a Japanese thing or just this game, but I'm usually used to arcade games eviscerating the wallet, but this one has a short race and a short boss fight before ending. There are actually a decent bit of odd Nintendo arcade games, but that's for another video I'll never make. The last game I want to mention is this Super Mario Race watch. It's a watch that plays Mario Kart.
Yep, that's all I have to say about that. Bye!